Hi, today I'm going to look at the, I can't even pronounce it, Aoyue, int701A++. It's a solder removal tool and soldering iron. And I've got some repair work I wanted to do. I wanted to get a nice solder sucker, and so we're going to take a look at it. So I just got it. So the box comes, got some cleaning accessories. You can see how it's all packaged up. There will be some assembly here. Here's the box. Feels nice and heavy. Feels kind of solid. So then to take this apart, looks like you pull this down here, this slides back, push this forward and slide it out. Now you've got the filter, the spring to collect the solder, and then kind of a rubber gasket here, and it looks like there's a second one of those included as well. But that all came pre-assembled. Put that like that. Yeah, that's pretty easy. So here's the soldering pencil. There's a decent feel to it. Nice sharp tip, I like that. And it's got the input for pulling the smoke off. Looks like that's adjustable. Okay, so here I have it plugged in. I have connected up my desoldering gun, and I connected up my soldering iron. If I want to turn the soldering iron on, I just hold this button on and I can set the temperature to what I want. Turn it off like that. One thing that's kind of curious is that I can have the vacuum for the soldering hooked up, or the vacuum for the gas, for the exhaust, but I can't have both at the same time. That doesn't make much sense to me. One thing, minor thing, but this cord is really stiff. Okay, now one thing that's a little bit odd about this device is that if I want to use the exhaust collector, or whatever you want to call it, on the soldering iron, I actually have to switch the hose between the hose for the desolderer and here. And then it took me a little bit to figure out, but then to turn on the vacuum, you have to hold both these buttons. Then that turns on the vacuum, and it does seem to work pretty well. I mean, I can hold it down and it keeps its temperature pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with the soldering iron. I think I'm just going to pull off that exhaust thingy. That's kind of a lot of noise. And then if you shut it off, then the vacuum shuts off. So here I just turned on the desolderer, and it looks like it comes up with temperature pretty quick. So I've got this Antec power supply, and I'm just going to experiment with pulling some parts off of it. Alright, so let's try to pull this big cap off here. See, it did a pretty good job of taking the solder out. I'm going to try to pull this whole board off right here. You can see it's kind of stuck in. So what's the bottom line on my int701A++ repairing system? I guess bottom line is that I was pretty happy with its performance. I just did a couple of repairs on some audio equipment, and I was replacing a large number of potentiometers, and they came out easily. There was no damage to the board. I didn't even have to really think about it too much. The soldering station part of it worked really well. When you're soldering in potentiometers, they can be like little heat sinks on the metal parts that hold them in, and the soldering station worked great for heating those up and getting them soldered. And so bottom line is that I'm happy with my soldering station. I wouldn't buy it if you wanted the exhaust on the soldering iron, but I don't use that, so that's fine with me.